Hi everyone. Thanks ever so much for all the feedback that I've had from the sales boot camp. I really appreciate it, and I mentioned also that I owed you a follow-up video to deal with some objections, which Sean in particular had referenced beforehand, but at some stage this always comes up in the conversation. So thank you to Sean for that and to Pam for the reminder. So here we go. So objection handling. Well, first of all, we have to think about what is an objection. An objection is something that's going to stop you moving forward somehow. And in sales, where we're trying to sell a service or a product, an objection could come in multiple different forms, really. It could be anything from no to I don't like that colour. What we have to, as salespeople, as business people, we have to judge, is this something which is it terminal? Is it going to sink the sale opportunity right here, right now? If it is, let's kind of understand that, because we don't want to waste our time. But equally, is it something that's overcomable? Now, do you remember the Peaky Blinders scene that I showed? Towards the very end of that scene, it was only 1 minute long, but Tommy Shelby says, what do you say, Mr. Kimber? And there's a few seconds of silence. We talked about that. But Billy Kimber comes back with, I say talk numbers with my accountant, I go for a dance. Now that was two things actually. It was an objection, but it was also a buying signal. So it wasn't a flat out no. It was if you talk numbers with my accountant blesses this deal, it's going to stand up, then we're okay. So you would then, to handle that objection, you might come back with just, if you wanted to say, okay, and if I work things out with your accountant, conditional, if I work things out with your accountant and we believe the numbers stack up, then we have a deal. And you would nod at the same time to reinforce the body language. And Billy Kimber, although you won't be dealing with Billy Kimber, but your prospect would say, yes, if my accountant says it's a good deal, we can go forward. And then you've got what we call a conditional agreement, conditional sale. If everything looks good, you'll come back, sort out the paperwork, raise an order, whatever that might be. So that's one way of handling an objection. Now let's just say you sell coffee, you're a barista in a coffee shop, and we were to walk up and I was to order filter coffee, which is the drip coffee, not an Americano, but it's the drip coffee that they hardly ever advertise. But I know from going in coffee shops all the way around the world, I know that they'll have those. I could say, have you got a filter coffee, please? And they'll say something like, no, but we can do you an Americano at the same price. That is an objection. It's no, even though I'm buying. It's understanding whether that no is sort of terminal and we can't get past it. In this case, we could. I'll have an Americano at the same price. Do you see the dynamic that's going on here? It's not being frightened about it. It's not an objection. It's not, Keith, you're a worthless person. Of course we haven't got filter. It's not like that. It's just saying no. And that, so no's can come at us from all angles. So the important thing is don't get knocked off balance. Don't worry about it. Understand what it is. You could even come back to say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. prospect, so you don't particularly like the filter coffee, but you do still want a coffee. Do you want a black coffee, an Americano? Do you want a latte with lots of milk? Why is that? And they'll come back to you and they'll say, well, actually, I'd like this. You've overcome an objection and you've got what you want, which is a sale. Okay, so if you're in the business of selling, catering, as actually a number of people in the sales boot camp were, and they came back with a price objection. That's often what we come up with, a price objection. Then you have to examine. So let's say we're trying to sell something at £10 a head. And maybe it's a wedding party that we're trying to sell to, and they come back to us to say, £10 a head, that's just too much money. Well, you have to understand that, okay, do you want to pursue that sale further, or do you want to say, well, actually, we're really not in the business of providing per head services that are any less than £10, so would you like me to put you onto someone else who does operate at that level? And they'll come back and they'll say yes or no, and you would make that introduction. Or if you decide that is business that you want to pursue, then you would, let's assume that that is, and you would say, okay, so £10 a head, you say that's too expensive for you. So the options are that we remove, let's say it's a 2-course meal for £10. Wouldn't that be nice? But anyway, let's say, well, why don't we forego a starter and let's just have a main course, in which case we can do the main course for £7 a head. So you're making the right percentage of margin, assuming you've priced correctly, but you're able to meet a price point. You're overcoming an objection to meet the price point. Or something else. So you could also ask the customer to say, okay, well, listen, tell me, what is your budget? And that puts the emphasis on the customer to come back to you and tell you what their budget actually is. Well, actually, if you could do something at £7 a head, that would really work for us. We like you, we know your reputation and all of that stuff. And okay, so Jason, if I can do that for £10 a head, or Victoria, I can do that at £7 a head. Would that be okay? We can go ahead then. Yes, is that okay? Yes, I would be happy with that. Excellent. Okay. Well, in that case, then you would give them your solution. You would tell them it's £7 a head. You would shake hands on that, and then whatever your process is to get a purchase order raised, or whatever your process is, maybe it's raising an invoice and requesting 50% payment upfront, whatever it happens to be. But you've overcome an objection, and you've dealt with it, and you've delighted the customer, and they've given you an order. Now that's very, very simple, and almost every sale is slightly different. It could be personalities, it could be what you're selling, it could be complexity, it could be price, it could be lots and lots of different things. Your issue needs to be, your objective needs to be, is it a permanent no? No, Keith, I don't like your service because whatever it is. And then you'll have to say, okay, well, listen, that's fine. We're both over 18, whatever it is. Let's just move on. Or you establish, is there a deal to be done there? And that takes a bit of experience and a bit of confidence and a bit of judgment to work it all out, whether there is a deal to do. Let's assume that there is a deal. Then you need to stay there metaphorically at the table and just respond to the situation and examine what the problem really is. Is it, well, we just can't afford £10 a head, we can only afford £7 a head, what can you give me for that? There is also, although there's a lot of swearing in it, there's a fantastic scene in Borat, the movie, if you know this movie, where Borat is going in to buy a particular car, and the salesman in this case completely fails to qualify the deal. And that is a fantastic scene, really exemplifies the point. Well, he was never ever going to be able to sell Borat an expensive vehicle, and I won't go into the details or spoil it, but if you get a chance, you can see it on YouTube sometime. It is a fantastic scene. I would encourage you to watch that. It exemplifies exactly how not to do it, in other words. So again, summing up, If you get a no, ask why not very gently, because why can be a very direct form, and you can intimidate and you can upset and you can cause issues. It's problematic. So just examine why, perhaps give them ideas, but get to whether you are going to make a sale or whether it's it's dead in the water here and now. So that's what you need to do. So anyway, I really hope that clarifies things for you just a little bit. If you have any questions at all, email me, keith@salesmarvel.co.uk, or DM me on LinkedIn if we're connected, and I'll respond to you very, very shortly. But thanks for watching. Thanks for watching so far. And I look forward to speaking to you really, really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.